What's up, everybody? Well, I got another gameplay video for you guys on the Asus G15 Advantage, and today we're going to check out Gotham Knights again, as it's had like 3 or 4 pretty large updates, including a 22 gig update. So, I already did the Steam Deck, so I figured, why don't we see how the laptop fares before we move on to the desktops? So, we're all ready to pretty much go. We just have to move this guy over to the capture computer, and then of course I'll come back over here and we'll get a little bit of some camera gameplay too at the end, as we usually try to do now that I got my new tripod. But anyway, let's go hop on to the capture computer now. Well, now let's see how the Asus G15 Advantage fares compared to the Steam Deck. So we're going to start off on low at 1080p, which is the native resolution of my particular model. I have the 1080p 300Hz screen. So let's just keep going through these settings here real fast. As you can see, I'm doing the quality preset low. This time I've remembered to mess with the fucking anti-aliasing. But now it's time for us to go into the game and see how it plays. Here we go with a little low gameplay to start with here on the Asus G15 Advantage. And so far playable. Let's get on the ground here and run around a little too. Still has lots of frame time spikes though. So nothing we can do about those really. Frame time spikes do what they want. Let's just keep on going around the city here a little bit. Cops or something over there to my left. Let's just pass them by. They always seem to fuck me up in this game. Alright though, why don't we go ahead and move on to the next graphics setting now. Now it's on to medium. So, I will jaunt through our settings here. And I did turn the anti-aliasing up to FXAA, which seems to be a good one for medium, even though I don't particularly like that setting, but that's just what we're going to do. Anyway, let's go get into the game now. Well, now we got ourselves some medium, so let's just run around again for a little bit. Doesn't seem like it affected the FPS too awful much. We're still getting very playable, even while we're ziplining around, not dropping below 60 or nothing. Now we are on the capture card, so it shouldn't affect our FPS whatsoever. Unless AMD has got some weird thing about having like a duplicate of itself, making it get worse performance or something that I don't know about. Now, one thing I did notice is sometimes the frame times will be a little wonky on the capture computer, but that's not the cause of this. The frame times are all over the place in the Steam Deck too. This game just has weird frame pacing issues. They said they worked on it in the last patch, but it still needs more work. Hell, the whole game still needs more work. It still feels kind of like a beta. But it's getting there, and it's definitely way better than it was, so I'm not trying to take anything away from them. And even though I do rip on this game sometimes, I still hope that it gets to be good enough for me to play on the laptop here soon, and on the Steam Deck. As you'll see, it does play pretty damn decently on my 2 desktops now, but they're both insanely powerful, so I would hope so. Before, though, it did not, on anything, really. But I guess they need to work on the lower end stuff, like the Steam Deck and mid-range stuff like the laptop, which is still very fucking powerful. Anyway, moving on. Let's do high now, so let's scroll through the settings first. And in this game, we got ray tracing, so we will do that before we do FSR. It probably won't work well because this is AMD, but we'll still give it a shot. And we did up the anti-aliasing up to TAA Gen 4, whatever the hell Gen 4 is. But there's a Gen 5 too, so I'm gonna do that for very high. Anyway though, let's get to the game. We are now on high, so let's run around the city again. Now that we're on high, we are dropping under 60 here and there while we're ziplining around, but still though, it's still way better than it was before. Let's just keep ziplining around a little bit. Man, look at that frame time, though. That frame time is atrocious. I'm getting some frame time stutters. That's another thing. Not only is the frame time bad, every once in a while it just stutters, and it does that on everything. It's just more evident when you're not getting hundreds of FPS. Or even in like the 90s and shit. Right now we're like under 60. We're down in the 40s over here, jeez. I didn't accidentally turn ray tracing on, I don't think, so over here just must be really fucking intensive. But as you can see, the GPU is barely being used still, so maybe it's just being bottlenecked still or something. As you can tell by the hotspot usually hangs out around 100, 101. It might max out at 102 or something for a second, then drop back down like instantly. But right now it's at 85. It's kind of like what the GPU's core temp is normally at. Normally the GPU's core temp is around like 86 to 87. CPU is even not quite up at its 96. Well, now we've made it to highest settings. So we'll go cruise through here real quick, and then after this, we'll get a little ray tracing in. We couldn't do that on the Steam Deck, but we can do it here, even though it probably won't turn out well. I'll still do it. I always do if I can. And now I've also turned anti-aliasing up to TAA Gen 5. Don't really know what the difference is between the two gens, but still figured it's the right thing to do. So now, to the game. Well, now, here is some very high, or it's called highest in this game. You can call it very high if you'd like, but it's called highest, so that's some highest gameplay in now. And if this makes any sense, we'll still drop down into the 40s and stuff, like on here. Yeah, we're not even ziplining and we're dropping under 60. Almost bashed my head into a bridge. Still down to like 58 and whatnot. But still, from what I can see here, it's definitely getting better. And that's what counts. They're not making it worse, they're only making it better. Hopefully they can get a little bit better, more performance out of here and let my GPU run free. It's just kind of lazing about, just being like, what else? I'm cool. At least it's doing a little better now. It's not hanging out in the like lower 1000s anymore. Oh wow, that was some hardcore stutter.
What the hell? Is that extra?
What's Redmond doing?
Alright though, let's go move on to some ray tracing now. Well, now let's get a little ray tracing in now. But first, let's go through the settings. As you can see, ray tracing is on up there. And other than that, we're just leaving the game maxed out. But now, let's get into the game, see how it plays. Here we go, ray tracing is on. Let's run around the city. And oh wow, yeah. We're definitely dropping down into the 30s and whatnot, but I was kind of figuring that was what was going to happen. But in all honesty, I'm surprised. I figured this was going to be like a teens kind of thing. That's usually what ray tracing does to this kind of thing. Hell, some people might find this even playable, you know? Go lock the FPS at 30 or something. That's a little too low for me personally, but hey, what I like, what other people like is completely different. And that's totally cool. That's why there's settings in games.
Wait, that's Red Hood?
Well, that and there's obviously a bazillion different combinations of computers out there too, but
No way.
multiple reasons to have multiple settings. But alright, that seems good enough. Let's go move on to FSR now. Well, now we're going to do some FSR now that we're done with ray tracing, so let's cruise on through here real fast. Now we're going to start off on quality, and this is FSR 2, so at least there's that. So now let's just finish scrolling through here. And alright, now why don't we go ahead and hop into the game. Well, FSR quality now. Let's scroll through here and not scroll, but let's what would you call this? Grappling code. We're not scrolling. We're grappling.
Unbelievable.
I'm just really stoned.
Unbelievable.
Alright, so seems like we're still dropping well under 60. I don't think it likes FSR very much. I feel like that's not really helping us much here either. Didn't really help us much on the Steam Deck either, to be honest. And I don't have ray tracing on anymore either. But it's not dropping down into the 30s, but it was dropping down into the 40s. I was really hoping just turning FSR on would give us like, hey, 60 all the time, you know? Or maybe just dropping down to like the low 50s, like 56 or something like that. Sporty car. But yeah, now a lot of people would probably still be alright playing like this, but I'd like a little smoother FPS for sure, so we'll definitely have to fiddle with the settings a little when it comes to my gameplay, the way I would do it, with the camera portion and all that. I'll also do a little screen recording too, but it's time for us to move on to the next FSR. FSR Balanced now. So, this time we really can say scroll. And this is FSR 2. I'm assuming if it was 2.1 or 2.2 or whatever, it would say so. So it's probably just FSR 2.0. Anyway, we've reached the bottom, so why don't we go get into the game now? Here we go. FSR Balanced gameplay now. Can it stay above 60? No, it can't. That was a really quick no.
At least
wasn't
someone's
it?
willing to fight for us.
Damn straight I am.
I can take care of your cat.
I'm also willing to shoot my guns off at random people for fun. But that's because this is a game, and why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, still down in the low 40s, damn. Oh well, though, if they keep on working on this game, I'm pretty sure it'll be, like, super good eventually. Whether or not they'll keep on doing performance tweaks and whatnot, I don't know. This might be as good as it gets, but only time will tell.
I sure
But
hope they
it's time
got
for
a
us
plan.
to go to the next FSR setting. FSR Performance now. But before we get into the game, we're definitely going to just scroll through all these real fast. No ray tracing or nothing like that. AMD CPUs don't tend to like that anyway. And I feel like they're probably always going to be second place too, NVIDIA. Well, I shouldn't say always, but for the next couple generations still. But hopefully at least the next one will be so good that you can at least turn it on and not be like, oh damn, can't get 60. Alright, FSR Performance gameplay. Yep, it definitely does not look very good now. We already could tell something was going on with quality and balance, but now definitely leaves something to be desired, no? But can we stay above 60? No. Didn't think so. I wasn't really paying attention before. We probably already dropped below before I even said that. Nope, still down to low 40. So honestly, it's like it doesn't even fucking do anything on these lower resolutions. But I mean, it was really meant more for high resolution shit. Like if you're at 4K and you can't quite get 60, you know, but you want to keep all the eye candy on, you know, turn on FSR quality. That's pretty much what it's for. Same thing with DLSS. It was never really meant for super low
Knew it was around
resolutions like 1080p and 720p and all that kind of stuff. It was meant for like high, even 1440p is a little too low. At least that one works a little better than these lower ones, but still, it's really meant for 4K. And pretty soon 8K. Anyway though, to the last FSR. Last up for FSR, we have FSR Ultra Performance, which I guarantee you, if it's anything like the Steam Deck, it's going to be ultra shitty. And then probably still not give us good FPS. It'll still probably be the same, like 60-ish and dropping down into the low 40s and even hanging out, mostly averaging in the high 50s like last time. But hey, why don't we go find out? Maybe it'll surprise me, at least get alright FPS while looking like crap. Well, here we go. FSR Ultra Performance, and yep, it does the same thing it does on the Steam Deck. It's so low resolution as you move around him, especially while we're grappling. Kind of like when Spider-Man was ziplining around with his webs. The outside of these guys' bodies just kind of looks super ultra pixelated. Watch this. See how pixelated it gets? I think it's because just like Spider-Man, it puts like little weird air effects around like his back and his skin and shit. And then that, it doesn't know what to, FSR doesn't know what the hell to do with that, so it goes, blocks or something. That's just my best guess, of course. I'm not saying that's what's going on. I'm far enough from a programmer to be able to tell you shit like that.
Purses and leather jackets that seemed like they were in a hurry.
People are awful. At least they didn't hurt anyone.
Yeah, people are awful sometimes, that is for sure. But alright, we'll go up here and let's go move on to my settings now. Well, alright, after messing around for a little bit, I think I've come up with a pretty good concoction of settings here. So here's what I came up with. Field of view, I'm leaving at 100. I turned off some of the toggles up there. Aliasing completely off. Texture, I wanted to be on high, everything else medium, and then environment density I left on high as well. Figured this thing's CPU is good enough, it can handle it. But why don't we go find out for ourselves, and you can be the judge of that. Well, here we go with my settings now. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, my settings don't always prevent us from going under 60, but I think my settings do a lot better job at staying above 60 than any of the presets did.
I hope you'll be able to help.
But we still drop down to the low 50s sometimes. Don't know why. But it still looks alright in my opinion, and I think we're still getting a little bit better FPS than we were before. And now we're still dropping down in the 40s. So maybe that's just a placebo. And like no matter what I do, it's just not really doing anything, you know? It could just be. Yeah, it still drops down in the 40s. And I spent a while trying to figure out good settings, but no matter what settings I try, it doesn't seem to matter.
Be careful.
Even if I put everything on low. That's about the only way, and then it still drops down. And it also looks kind of crappy, too. So, still, I don't think this is a horrid way to play. I could play like this. I'd like more FPS without dropping under 60 ever, but hey, sometimes you take what you can get, especially on a laptop. But anyway, let's move on to camera. Well, alright guys, let's get ourselves a little camera gameplay in now. And I think my settings work pretty good. Yeah, it might drop down to like 54 and shit here and there, but as you can see, for the most part, it stays above 60 with my settings. Oh, see, we're doing 59 there for a little bit, but this is much better than it was before. I couldn't make this game playable if I tried before. And sure, it's not maxed out, but it is what it is. You can't max out every game, and honestly, maxing out games is stupid anyway. Unless you've got a 4090, it's just absolutely insane. And even with that, there's certain games you still can't max out, at least native. You gotta use DLSS.
or that new frame generation technology, which is cool and all, but it always gives me so much crazy FPS that I get screen tearing, since I don't have no 100 or 200 hertz 4K TV. Mine's only 120, which is plenty for me for 4K. As long as it's a constant 120, that's smooth as butter. I'd say that's probably my favorite. Like, this 300 would probably be good, and I'd probably like it if I could actually hit it in most games, but most games you can't get anywhere close, so that's why I always kind of chuckle when I see 300 hertz on laptops and whatnot. But hey, I'm not going to knock it. I also like the fact that it's 1080p, because if we were at 1440p right now, we'd probably be struggling to just be over 60 right now. And see, we still, like I said, we'll drop down to 49, 48 here and there. I don't know why that happens, but there's just certain spots in this city where you'll just drop down into the 40s for no reason on this laptop. And as you can see, it's still doing wacky shit with the GPU's clocks. We're not getting anywhere near full clocks. Funny enough, we always do when we're in the menu, so the game actually runs pretty decent in the menu, where there's like nothing going on, but the second you actually get into the damn game, you're met with this kind of crap. But I will say this is tremendously better than it was before, and it's at least now playable. Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind. Or is it a bad block because I'm on it now? Yeah, see, we still drop here and there, but, I mean, for the most part, it's perfectly playable. Especially if you're inside. The really annoying part about this game is I remember, before, even without any updates, I was getting good FPS indoors. I was getting like hundreds of FPS, like 170, because my shit was going up. 99% utilization on the GPU, and it was going 2400 megahertz, and everything was going great. But then the second you get outside, the whole game kind of goes to shit a little. But I will say, as I repeated a bunch of times, they've done a lot of good work here, making it a lot better than it was. I will say that. So, I think it needs a little bit more updates here, but we can always come back. Although, with all the updates it's gotten, this might be about as good as it's going to get. I don't know. But I would like them to at least let AMD GPUs clock up, because the Steam Deck had the same problem. It still was chilling at like 700 to 800. Though, in its defense, it did get up to 900 a couple times, which almost never happened before. I think, truth be told, I think it was mostly at like 500, 600 on the Steam Deck. And it can go up to like, I think, 1.8 or something, or 1.4. No, 1.6, I think, is the most it can do. But it mostly hangs out at 1.4 once it heats up and whatnot. That's just the way things are. Once they get to a certain temp, they just kind of equalize and do their own thing. But after this, I'll probably do 1440p, and then with the way it's running at 1080p right now, it's probably not going to be very great at 1440p, so which means it'll be absolute dog shit on ultra wide and 4K, so there's really no point in even doing that. I'm just going to say it's unplayable on those. Because we're still struggling here to stay over 60 a lot of the times. I mean, most of the time we are, but there's definitely times, as you've seen, where we've definitely dipped way below 60, down into the 40s even. But it kind of just depends where you are in the city, it seems. And what the GPU feels like doing with its fucking clocks. Oh, there's a bunch of cops. I don't really want to fight cops. They always have armor and kept kicking my ass. Anyway, though, that honestly looks like a good spot to stop. So, why don't we go wrap this video on up now? Well, alright guys, that is a wrap for Gotham Knights, and while it definitely got a lot better, it definitely has some more work to do. The GPU still isn't clocking up correctly, and doing all sorts of other goofy stuff, but I will say in their defense, they did definitely improve the game dramatically from how I first played it. Now it's at least playable. We still drop under 60 here and there, but at least it's playable. As you guys recall, I was struggling even to get 60 on like low settings and whatnot before. Unless I was indoors. Indoors, I never had a problem. GPU clocks up, everything like works great indoors.
But outside, in the big open world, I don't know what it is. Just doesn't want to work properly. Have to get to the NVIDIA GPUs and see if those clock properly or not. But first, we got to get to 1440p. But before I can do that, we got to wrap this video up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And until the next one, peace out, guys.